Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is May 19th, 2024 on the ancient moon calendar, 2025 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2024 on the ancient Greco-Roman civic calendar. And today is one day after our 6-year anniversary. So we will to congratulate all of the Moors on the success, the earthwide success of the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic federal government. For that, we are grateful. And so we're going to keep going and keep moving forward. We have some important information that we will to share today about our wealth. With that being stated, all rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and accordance with the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices and Eggleston Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capite et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, sovereign, original, indigenous, ancient Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hammatites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original, indigenous, ancient, divine, sovereign empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington, District 4, Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earthwide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are demonstrating and being the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, ancient, sovereign, natural, divine, Article 3 living, United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, trustors, grantors, grantors, and possessors, titled possessors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We do hereby accept our sovereign ascension. We recognize ourselves, and we possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise, demonstrate, and be all ancient original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. And very powerful. So let's try it again. Let's do it again. Islam. We all and I, Pauline Denise Ritchie.
We all and I, Angelica.
We are so
by our ancient, sovereign, eternal, original, indigenous blood.
By our sovereign, original, indigenous blood.
Birth, divinity, and inheritance.
Birth, divinity, and inheritance.
And Lord over all dead and Lord over all living, nunc pro tunc.
And Lord over all dead and Lord over dead. Lord over all dead and Lord over all living. Nunc pro tunc.
Wow. Wow. Look at what all it took. That we know it's extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. Indeed. Islam. Okay, let's move on. So I have a couple of questions. We will to to go get right into our topics today. Just one moment. So one of the first topics is, how do you remove a fake, incompetent person pretending to be a judge? How do you do that? And you can star 6. Islam Empress. Islam Empress.
Islam, can you open up for Noble Earl, please?
Sure.
Islam. The answer to that question is affirmative jurisdiction or
So an affirmative of jurisdiction, it asks the question to present the warrant that you have that gives you a delegation of authority. So it's asking a question which is appropriate.
Bond. It also asks for the insurance bond. Are you insured?
Yes.
To act as that.
That's truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth. That is true. Mm-hmm.
And also we add some things to that as well. Congress is supposedly supposed to give them the authority, which most of them do not respond back with that authority from Congress, or their Congress, if you will.
Right, because they're not a Congress, we're the Congress. And we don't give them authority at all. So you're absolutely right, nobility. Absolutely. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Islam?
Islam Empress.
I would think that we would state the court action itself in order to take possession of the court. Islam.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Now, with what Justice Howard stated, that is something you would send ahead of time before you get there. And when we say get there before you do your court action, like Empress Cynthia was stating, because we don't go to fake courts, we actually demonstrate court. So Empress Cynthia is correct also as part of that process. All of these steps are steps at removing fake, incompetent persons from pretending and acting like they're judges. Anyone else?
Yes, greetings.
Greetings, nobility.
I'm back.
Yes, you are. How you doing, Justice Willie?
I am having mixed, a lot of stuff going on in my life personally, but that's an off-the-air thing. I don't know if you changed your number. I was trying to call you, and it seems like you have changed number since. But update me on your number, because we need to talk off the air when you can. I would appreciate us having a little dialogue as before.
Islam.
Right. So what I came in a little late, but I kind of give it I've been wanting to ask a question. Now, these people have been wreaking havoc on the land for the past 150 years or more. And we are awakened to the fraud that we're under. And the system is crumbling, it's falling, but they're not going out without trying to fight back. I see a lady named Ratzinger. I don't know if those of you know her. She was a judge, and she has put a $279 trillion lien on the Bar Association that has been wreaking the havoc, because when you stop to think about it, they are the ones who, let's say a corporation and you have a problem. The corporation voice is the lawyer. The corporation voice vocal cord is the lawyer. So they are the ones who they forward everything to. And they are the ones who railroad you and do on their chicanery in their kangaroo courts and take action against living men and women by practicing peonage, which using that all caps name, but then they use that as a shield to come against the living people. And that is something that I think we need to also join in with Ratzinger, because these people have been wreaking havoc on people, causing distress in their lives, and so on and so forth. What I want to ask is, how do we, when we put the lien out there, we publicize it, etc., etc. Like she's working with the U.S. Marshals, but who are we working with to effect the levy and the seizure of these assets? The same way they do to us when they put a lien on us, they come and they bring their forces and they kick us out of our house, off our land, whatever. How do we let the thing not just be some paper with something hanging out there in the public, but how do we give it teeth to bite the same way they bite our people?
Okay. So let me go back to... Yes, go ahead, Empress.
I'm going to try to answer it anyway. I believe it's with a writ of cessatory because we are on the land. The land belongs to us. They have no land, so you have to design the writ of cessatory so that you can take over what they're doing through our court.
So that is also a mechanism that can be used. Our great and mighty Grand Sheik Taj talked about the writ for certiorari this past Friday. What the writ of certiorari does, we've done the study on those as well. The writ of certiorari comes from a lower court, and it asks a higher court to review the matter. That's really what writ of certiorari did. However, because we are the highest court, the writ of certiorari is, Moors can do them, but that's only Moors who don't know that they are the court. So it is a valid method. It elevates whatever issue it is from a lower court to the Supreme Court, because certiorari is a Supreme Court document, and we know we are the Supreme Court. There is no other. Back to what Justice Willie was asking about in relation to what we're talking about here now. First and foremost, Justice Willie and others and all, if you want to put teeth into something, you first have to know what you're biting. Justice Willie, we've talked about this before. We're going to have to put our foot down on this one and state that we first must know that they are not judges, they're not police, they're not lawyers, they're none of that. That is, and listen, because you are sovereign, every time you call them that, they're going to start acting like that because they're zombies, you know. And they're just going to act like that until you realize that that's not who that is. See, you are directing their activity by what you say to them. If you call them subjects, they're going to behave as subjects. If you call them judge, they're going to say, oh, he doesn't realize he's the judge, so let me go ahead and act like I'm a judge. That's why they were called acting and occupiers. Acting and occupy. Occupation is actually a military term. And if the Moors were not being the judges, then actors had to occupy that space until we did it. That happens with every word that proceeds out of our mouths. You put teeth into it by taking your teeth out of calling them judges. The words that come out of your mouth will dictate whether you even need to use your teeth to do anything other than smile.
Pay your bills, and that will never happen.
That is how that works. We don't have to bite back at them. We don't have to, because they're not even on our level when we say they're not. But if you put them above you and say that they have the authority to judge you, they're going to start acting. And then the fake judge is going to send fake costumed police, quote unquote, and they're going to do some acting. So until, and I'll say this, Justice Willie, to you, but I'm stating this to everyone. Moors, stop giving them titles. Let me show you just really quickly, because see, you should be removing them because they're fake, and we're going to show you that in just a moment too. But let's go here to the book that is a trust document even for them. See, remember when back in Bible. So let's take what's been said, and let's make sure we get the right version. Verse 21. Actually, verse 20. Let's start there, because see, this is someone in the Bible. This is Job doing a court action and stating what should happen in a court action. Verse 20, and this is what they look at. I'm showing you what they're looking at. I will speak that I may be refreshed. I will open my lips and answer. This is a court action. What Job is saying is no one speaks for him. He must speak for himself. And then he says this, let me not, I pray you, accept any man's person. Neither let me give flattering titles unto men. See, you keep flattering them by calling them judges. So they keep being flattered and acting. If you call them a police officer, they're going to act like one. Now, we can't stress that enough. We're showing it to you right here. But look at verse 22 and what it says. It says, for I know not to give flattering titles. In so doing, my maker would soon take me away. That means put you in jail, because you've given them a title. And the Constitution says no titles of nobility are to be given. We were born with them, so no one has to give them to us. But a title of nobility is any title at all other than subject. And only the nobility can call someone a subject.
Islam, could you screen, please?
Could I what?
Share your screen, please.
Oh, yes, I can do that. Thank you, Empress.
I'd like to ask.
There it is, right there on the screen. Verses Job. This is here. Let's go back up to the top. Job, the 32nd chapter. This is what they're looking at. This is what they're acting on. Verses 20, 21, and 22. And just know this. These are years as well. 2020. 2021 and 2022. Think about that. In 2020, we started speaking and doing court actions and saying no one speaks for us. In 2021, we said we don't accept anyone's person. We created our own person. A person is an all caps name or any name, no matter how it's written, no matter what case it's written in. And then 22 says, you should know not to give them flattering titles. That's what it's saying. See, they know this. They know this. That's how you put teeth into what you're doing. Is stop directing them to take you, because you're directing them to do so.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
All right. So, not just talking about how we speak. We understand that. Hold on. What I'm trying to say is, okay, you have a matter. Let's say it's a dispute over land.
Yes.
So you are sued. You're sued in the court. They send your documents. You send it back to them. Say, I don't recognize your authority or whatever. They still go ahead and they have court action behind you. Before you know it, you hear that, well, because you did not attend, they get an order. Then they come with, hold on, they come with their They come with their police. I'm getting an echo. Somebody need to do something.
Okay, just a moment. Go ahead, Nobility.
Right. Then they do an order behind you, and they come with the police and the city and everybody. I don't know why I'm getting this echo. Maybe they recorded me, whatever. Anyway, it seems like it's gone. Right. Right. So they come with their police and they come execute their order. And before you know it, either you're kicked out of your house, off your land. They do their dirty job on you. When you look, there's nobody to appeal to, because I want to share something with you. According to the Northern Trust Corporation documents obtained from the Federal Securities and Exchange Commission, the BAR, aka the ABA, is the very same corporation as the Internal Revenue Service, and that the ABA, the American Bar Association, owns Wells Fargo Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and a host of Fortune 5 companies. And then it goes to say, if your answer to this is yes, does this not present an incredibly serious conflict of interest for the ABA and the IBA and the DOJ, Department of Justice, pursuant to their very own corporate laws prohibiting such misconduct, fraud and misrepresentation when the IRS issues fraudulent mortgage foreclosure liens against living inhabitants of the land? And the ABA, American Bar Association membership, which includes attorney generals, district attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, and or defense attorneys, represent the IRS in these kangaroo court cases, and where the administrative clerks, aka bankruptcy judges, adjudicating over such matters are also members of the ABA, right? So
Islam Empress, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Yes, Justice Willie, Empress was trying to say something and we couldn't hear her.
Okay, I'm trying not to interrupt him.
Let me just finish what I'm... Yeah.
Justice Willie, you're giving them way too much credit when you're missing the one main point of all of this is identity.
Yes.
First and foremost, they're not talking to you. They're not talking to you. They're talking to a court.
But they come and they take your stuff through that fiction. That's what I'm saying, sis.
Okay.
They come, all right. Oh, they're not talking to you. Yet still they're writing you and they hold on. Can I say, let me just clarify something. The fiction, we understand, that they create and put you on the sea. They talk to that, and that they tie up your asset, which is your land and stuff, in it under fraud, we know. And when they send out these things to you, they then foreclose on the real man and the real woman and kick you out of your house or off your land or take away your asset.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Status.
Are you willing to listen?
Go ahead.
I see that you're emotional about the issue, Justice Willie. And the emotion is designed to keep you from hearing.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring it all the way back down so that you hear. When they send something to an all caps name, they're not talking to you. You have your own all caps that you can create at any time. Okay, and then you can rebut what they're saying, and they will listen because they do all the time with us. So, and when I say us, I mean all of us. So let me tell you what's happening there, because I'll just have to go ahead and get into, this is what they're doing right here. You see this word right here, doubles, letters patent? Let's pull this up really quickly. Doubles. This is a word in Black's Law Dictionary. All they're doing is using letters. Here it is right here. A patent is a grant of some privilege or property or authority made by the government or sovereign. So when you give them the authority to say Willie Stevens, that's not you, unless you answer and think that that's you. Now, you can show them the real Willie Stevens by creating your own Willie Stevens and showing them that you created your own. See, they're doing doubles. They're playing the doubles on you. They're using the same letters and having you think they have the authority to use it and that they're talking about you, when you can take those same letters and create your own Willie Stevens and tell them, you're the boss of this one, this is the real one, and that one is not real. So it's like a good twin and a bad twin, and you're the parent, and you know which twin did what. You know that someone is pretending to be the other one. That's what the story of Jacob and Esau was all about. An evil twin. They create something that looks like yours, but it's not yours, but you think it is because it's spelled the same and it looks the same. It's not you. You must create your own Willie Stevens. They got a dead one. You got the living one. They got a dead one. You got the living one.
Yeah. Suppose I tell you. Let me just do a follow-up because we're having this conversation. Suppose I tell you I have done all of that, but what you've found these days, these people have gone rogue. They don't care what document you send, some of them. They don't care what you say. They don't care your pronouncement. They will lock you up. They will do this. They will do that. They will go against the everything that you stand for. And you take yourself out of their jurisdiction.
That's enough praising them. That's enough praising. That's enough praising them.
No, we're not praising them, Empress. We're not praising them. I'm talking about a living reality that I face.
Because of what comes out of your mouth. You think it doesn't matter what you say, but it does.
Let me say something. I'm just going to say this and close.
Okay.
Recently, I had a case with them.
No, you didn't.
Can you just allow? Let me just. I have to deal with my reality.
Okay.
Let me just do my reality, and you can take it from there. But I'm talking about the reality that is on the ground. I'm not talking about a fiction. I'm talking about real life experience right now, where I do everything according to the book.
What book? Did you write the book?
Empress, let me finish. I'm just going to say this.
Okay.
I state my Moorish nationality. I have my flags. I have this or that. I do all of that. They ignored it, and they still went and railroaded me. They came to my place, and they did their dirty job. After that, right, I was in court with them one of the time, and you know what they did? You know what they said to me? I did an affidavit. You know what they did? Because they could not rack my affidavit or rebut it. They said I did not have jurat. What was that? I did not get it signed by an authorized person. I did the thumbprint, which is the best seal in the world. They ignored all of that and railroaded me. So I'm talking about reality, sis. I'm not talking about...
Well, let me ask you, were you standing in their venue when you did all that?
What you mean?
Did you attend their court?
No, I ignored, and they give you default judgment when you don't attend. That's what they do. That's what I'm talking about. When you don't attend, when they ask you to, they go behind your back and say, well, they send you this and send you that. You ignore them. So before you know it, oh, he did not attend. So you get a default judgment. That's their dirty, nasty system. Sometimes you have to show up and try to do your best to make a proper defense with your affidavit and your documentation and so on, right? To prevent that. And they still railroad you because they're focused. There's no justice in their system.
Justice Willie, then get out of their system. Then get out of it like we have. You've got to get out of it. And you're going, just a moment, you're going to have to sit down and take in the information that we're telling you about answering when and doing things out of fear. Justice Willie, we can hear I can hear the fear in your voice. You're afraid of them because of that, when really, Justice Willie, they're not talking to you, but you're going to have to prove that to yourself. That's something that we can't even prove it to you for you. We've proven it for ourselves, but we can't prove that for you. You have to actually listen and think about what we're stating about them using letters and not having the authority until you call them a judge or you call them a police. When they send documentation and they're doing things, that's not a real court. You must be the court. You must use court actions, and no matter what they do, you must still be the court and pronounce sentence on them. We've done it. So we're not doing something that yes, we have the empresses here, and we've all done it, and I did it in something that was called a jail cell, but we called it a court because we were doing court actions the whole time. 10 days straight we did court actions, didn't care what they said or did. So you're going to have to get to that point, Justice Willie, where you know that you're the judge and you're the justice. No matter what they do, you're the judge and you're the justice. Because until you free yourself that way, you're going to continue to feel as emotional and stressed out and high energy about what they're doing.
Islam.
You know, Islam.
May I?
Justice Empress Angel and then Noble Phoenix.
Okay, gratitude.
Quickly, so we can go ahead, Empress.
Islam. So to the point, we have to do our own seizure on the proper way, because otherwise all you're explaining was a dead seizure. They was taking what was dead and they're letting the dead bury the dead. You must restate all your property, restate all your stuff, because otherwise they're coming to claim the contract. If you bought all your property with fiat, they're going to come take that property and claim it because it's their script. If you want them off your land, off of you, you got to restate all your stuff and tell them this has been paid and bought by sovereign money. Lawful money. Otherwise, they're going to keep seizing their scripts, their property, because if you read your fine print contract, it states on all property they still own it in the dead state because you haven't restated it and put it into living state. Point period. Now, moving on. Thank you very much. And I'd like to quickly read the definition of charge in the Black's Laws Dictionary. Charge is a noun. An encumbrance, lien, or claim. We can leave it right there because when we do our liens, we do our lawful charge.
Yes.
All right. So all it comes down to is properly doing your actions, as we always state, with understanding, overstanding, and with competence, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Peacefully. Absolutely.
Yes, love, truth, peace, freedom, peace, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So you have to do your lien and charge them so they stop charging you. Restate all your things and take it and put it on the record that no, this was not bought with fiat. Because listen, how many times have we seen, this is just a little example, when somebody was so-called, money laundering, right? And they're the money launderers, let's keep it real. So if somebody got charged with which is a lien with money laundering, they didn't care what you bought or how you bought it. They were seizing all your assets because they didn't care if you had a 9-to-5, but you was in the back room laundering money. They would say, oh, we're not going to sit here and say, oh, we're going to think that you bought that with lawful money, and we thought that you bought that with this, and we thought. They're not going to do that. They're going to take all your assets. So you got to tell them point blank, period, this was all bought and paid for with lawful money, period. And you will shut them up eternally. Islam.
Noble Phoenix, really quickly.
Okay, real quickly.
And please, everyone, please bring the energy down, please, please.
Yes. My energy is very calm because I've been through what the brother is talking about.
Yes.
Where you're looking at the system and you're saying, they did this, and like you said, you're giving them credit. And it took me a minute, but after the POW demonstration, that's when I really, really got the fiction and the real.
Yeah.
They did that to my fiction because I left the door open to not restate certain things. I had not done all the things that I learned to do afterwards. So that was the open door. And the fact that when I showed up in their venue, although they dragged me in there, I did not put them in subject status. By speaking the words of the law out of my mouth, I didn't do that. And I had the opportunity to do it, but I didn't know how to do it competently. So I didn't do it. Therefore, the point that I want to share with Brother, is it Justice Willie?
Justice Willie. Yes.
Justice Willie. The point that I want to share with him from my own experience of transitioning from looking at all that as the real, because it ain't the real, the only way that happens is not in the paperwork, it's not in the demonstration, it's in your mind. I will remind you of something that was quoted in the Matrix. Neo goes and he jumps off the building in the Matrix, and he falls to the ground, and he bleeding internally. He wakes up outside the Matrix in the real world, in the real reality, and he says, wait, I'm bleeding, I'm hurt. I thought it wasn't real. I thought it was all make-believe, he says to Morpheus. And Morpheus answers, your mind makes it real. That's the point. Your mind, everything is happening as a result cause of what's going on in your mind. So when you believe that those people are real, you believe that, okay, they don't have authority, but you just turned around and gave it to them. But they did this to me. You're making it real in your mind. That's the point. So you have to change your mind to change the outcome. And that's a spiritual journey that has to be elevated. The brother's he's on point, yes, pointing out the points, but you got to make it real. You are the real authority. And until that's convinced in your mind, it don't matter what the rest of us say. Yeah, that's a journey only you can transition to Islam.
Islam. And just in mention to that, really, what we have done in order to deprogram and reprogram our minds with regard to our authority, and we would suggest that you do it, Justice Willie. There are 40 plus documents. By the time you print out and create those documents for yourself, you will know your authority because it will have been repeated by you over and over and over, and you'll autograph and you'll stamp it with your right red thumbprint and all of that. That's our suggestion. We suggest that all Moors do the 40-something documents. What are those documents? Because see, here's the thing. If it's so real in your mind, then you're gonna have to pull something from the outside into you so your mind can be changed and renewed and transformed. Some people think it's not the documents, but that's because they know that it's in here, in the mind. Other people think that it is the documents because they don't know that it's the mind too. Some people think that it's the mind only and not the documents. It's the documents too because you're busy signing contracts with them. And I say you when I'm talking about others, those who do that. So we would invite, because you can't tell sovereigns what to do. And you know what? As much as we love sovereigns, we're never going to tell you what to do. We're going to make suggestions. We're going to tell you what we did that worked. And even the things that didn't work, because everything worked. We've not had a single thing to fail because it proved the point. But everything must be restated. Titles to conveyances and all of that must be restated. Now, let's go back to the question on the screen. How do you remove a fake, incompetent person pretending to be anything? Fake judge, fake police, fake this, fake that, fake landlord, fake owner, fake CEO, fake this, fake banker. How do you remove them? First, you declare your nationality on the public record. That's first and foremost. We know that. The 6 documents that we discussed, which are name change and judicial proclamation. That's the first document. Those come together, name change and judicial proclamation. A lien on the nom de guerre war name that they were using. They kept creating that monster, that thing. You put a lien on that nom de guerre. Then you put a lien on the social security number that they created. So what you do is you stop the fictions from being able to create dead persons because you have a living person that you're going to create. Then you do a termination of all corporate contracts. That means that any contracts that were made under the fiction name, you're saying that contract is not the contract that's going to govern these things. What are these things? Domiciles, conveyances, cars, homes, etc. Your property, your land, it should not be governed by fake contracts. It should be governed by real. So you have to replace those contracts with real ones, real affidavits. Then, after you've done a termination of all corporate contracts, you want to place a lien on the U.S. corporation company. Then that's in brackets in black ink. You want to do that. And then you want to put a fiduciary document on the public record stating that you are in charge of all letters, all numbers, all signs, sounds, sigils, and everything because you're writing everything. That's going to, again, decapitate and delegate. So you're taking eyes and legs from fakes and make it so that you govern what happens with you. Will there be some changes in things as you're making these changes? Yes, there will be. Here's the thing. If these changes are not made, you're going to lose the stuff anyway because you still don't know that they are not talking to you. You must create you. Let us go down and make man in our image after our likeness. I made Pauline Denise Ritchie. Nobody else made her. I did. So everybody that was faking and pretending, I had to lien, levy, bond, all of that. Do court actions, all of that. Put a protective order on my person, all of the person that I own, and all of that. That had to come from our courts. And then we don't answer to other fakes pretending to be a court when we're the real court. So how do you remove a fake incompetent person from pretending to be judge? You put the right address on your documentation. And again, this is all while knowing that they can't speak to you. They're dead. You're not a necromancer. You don't romance the dead. And romance, that word is about language. You know, ancient Rome, the Romance languages, you don't speak the same language as the dead. It is provided here. This is from Black's Law Dictionary, the definition for address. Equity. The address is part of a bill wherein is given the appropriate and technical description of the court in which the bill is filed. So addresses talk about courts. It says here, it is provided as a means for the removal of judges deemed unworthy. So the right address, and that being done by court action, is legislation. Okay? It's legislation. And this here says it's not provided for in the Constitution of the United States. That's correct. It's provided for in the Constitution for the United States, Article 1, Section 5, and the Fifth Amendment.
We affirm Islam.
The Fifth Amendment Takings Clause talks about answering for a capital. Now, Justice Willie, that's what you've been doing. You've been answering for a capital, all capital letters. Theirs, not yours. And that's why they came and did what they did. All Moors need know that. You must know that. All Moors must know that. If you answer for their capital instead of creating your own, you're asking for it. And I know that sounds tough, but I don't know any other way to say it. To get it through the heads of the sovereigns that you're the court. And you don't answer to another court. You don't ignore it either. You do a court action on that paper. You don't
listening to Pauline and you'll die, just like the people in Polk County.
See, we got it, and that's why they're pulling out all the stops. We got it. We're good. So if you want to remove a fake judge, put the right address and send your court action, because you're not talking to the dead. You're going to speak to the living. And here is how addresses, proper addresses. Now, at the top is a debtor address. It contains substitutions and abbreviations. That is incorrect. The one at the bottom is the equitor, creditor, court location. So this is the proper one at the bottom. That's a properly written, address to the right court address. Now, that is how you remove. You don't talk to a fake judge. You speak to the real one and tell the real one to remove the fake. And you don't even have to tell them, because they're not there. When you put the right address, you're speaking to the right place. And here's the thing about the right address. Whenever we send anything to King County Superior Court, all we're doing is stating that the head magistrate, which is us, all of us, the head magistrate has put this order on the record, this command on the record, this law on the record, paid this with Dollarium on the record. That's how you remove a fake judge. And fake police too. Now, here's a question too. When you exercise your authority to remove the stated person, who then is the bank? Who's on the bench? Who's the judge? When you exercise your authority to remove the stated person, who is the bank? Because we know judges, bank, and bench is the same word.
We are Islam. We always been, we just put ourselves in proper persona.
That's it. That's how you do it.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, Justice Willie, go ahead.
All right. They throw the handcuff on you, put some kind of charge on you.
Not on you.
They say, okay, on the fake. That's correct. They say, do you, but you are wearing the handcuff or whatever. They say, do you understand? You say, no. They take off the they take off the handcuff, but give you a paper to sign and say, well, sign this, and so that I don't have to take you in handcuff in the down the jail, and just promise that you will appear in court. What do you do? Do you just say, you know what, they weren't talking to me, I'm not going to show up? Then before you know it, okay, the day come, you didn't show up, they're at your door to come and effect a warrant and all of that. So even though I understand what you're saying, that they're not talking, they do deal with the fake, but they try to push that on you, even though you like, in my case, I would say, sign on the threat, duress, and coercion, right?
No. What we do is, when they're saying things like that, we say, all rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in accordance with the ancient Noahide laws. This is the ancient Article 3.
That's exactly why Sasha got put in jail.
Moorish American, Al-Moroccan, Universal Court Action. I am Sovereign Living Justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. And then we say, what is your name? See, we start asking the questions. We start asking the questions. Why? Because the one who's asking the questions is acting as king. We do court actions. We don't care about signing things. We don't sign nothing. We do court actions, period. We've done it several times, actually. We've done it. And it works. It works. You must do a court action on them because guess what? They're doing one on you. I don't care if you're standing in the hallway of your domicile. They're doing a court action on you. And they're trying to get you to identify as their corpse. So we just do the court action language, and I repeated it for 10 days straight. 10 days straight. 10. Without fail. Without fail.
While you were in lockup?
Yes, but I wasn't in lockup. In our minds, we were in court, our court. And we just did it repeatedly, 10 days straight. Every time someone came and showed their face, we did a court action. And let me tell you, Justice Willie, 3 of those times, it was a whole group of big ones that came, big foreigners that came. And they came and they stood outside the courtroom, our cell, our courtroom, and they were planning on coming in, beating folks up and doing whatever they were doing. That was their plan. We just did a court action repeatedly and sentenced them to 2 weeks in jail. We did that. They couldn't even come into the cell. They couldn't even come into the cell because we had done the court action.
That's your delusion and your craziness.
Not at all. Not once. They couldn't come in. And they did that 3 times, and the 3rd time that group came, I was out of there. They said, we got to get her out of here. We've got to get her out of here. So we didn't care what they were saying. We didn't care what they were doing. We just did court actions, and we didn't care how long we were going to be in there. We did court actions because that's just what we do. That's what the ancestors told us to do. Raise them from the dead and speak to them. Because it's spiritual first, Justice Willie. It's spiritual. Some don't want to believe that, and that's why sometimes they have a problem seeing that it's spiritual, but that's a spiritual thing. They did their enactments with a cross and a flag, saying, with these signs we conquer. It's spiritual. So we just do court actions repeatedly. So learn the court action language. We suggest that you do that. We suggest all Moors know the court action language. Justice Dawood, he gave his testament 2 Congresses ago regarding how they tried to detain him. He did court actions and he was out of there. Period. And it was a lot quicker with him than it was with me, but I didn't care. I was going to be there. I was going to be there. I didn't put that link in the chat. Someone's impersonating. Now, speaking of impersonating, Justice Willie, you see that impersonator that in the chat calling themselves Light Taj? They're using their letters. That's not me. That's their Light Taj. So we know that doesn't have anything to do with us. We are our own Light Taj. We do what we do and say what we say. We're not even worried about the fake because the real is right here. But that's what I mean by playing the doubles on you. That's a dead Light Taj right there. That's a dead one. I'm the real. My person is the real. So that's all they're doing when they send things is they're sending a dead Willie, Justice, and the real Justice Willie, you send same words, same letters. It looks the same. But it's your just a moment. But it's your person. You must create your own person. Period. That's how
if I may just interject, I like what I'm hearing, a proposal from the same lady, Ratzinger. She's saying what we're doing now, we as a people need to go back to the common law on grand jury, where we summon them to court, we run court on them too, and we put the lien on them. That's why I was telling that she has put a $279 trillion lien on the Bar Association. And we need to stop going to their court, I agree, and do common law actions on them and summon them to our court and find them guilty and put that lien, levy, and bond on them. And so the grand jury is what is the solution to counteract the power that they think they have over us. But as I say, we still need enforcement, and because what they use against us is illegal, illegitimate force of the police, and all of them working in as I read a while ago, all of them are working together against the people. So we have to come together and form our own grand jury, find them guilty, and put on the lien, levy, and bond, and bankrupt them so that they cannot function.
Where do you think you are?
Who is this singer?
Hold on, please. Let me just say this, please. She's telling you to do what we've already been doing. It's the subject, Anna Von Reitz, who was never a judge, by the way. She's aware of that. And she has gotten her, well, anyway, that's her issue. All she's doing is telling you to do what we're doing, what we've been doing. That's why we're saying to you the things we're saying to you, Justice Willie. We've already been doing court actions on them, liening, levying, and bonding, and we're getting results that are excellent results. So we would ask, because we can't tell you what to do, go back and listen to the videos that we've done already, the congresses that we've done. Everything we do is by court action. Go back and put those 40 documents on the public record. I know that people say, oh, I've been doing this longer than you. Like, okay, if it works, do it. But I'm just saying, the things that we've done is working for us. And so we suggest that all Moors do the 40-something documents so that you know that you're the Pope, you're the police, you're the mayor, you're the governor, you're the Congress, you're all of that.
I don't think I've ever heard you. I don't remember. I'm not saying you've never done it, but are you proponent of the authentication of the birth certificate or no?
We create our own everything. We authenticate our own stuff.
Oh, so you don't believe in authenticating their birth certificate and put a lien on it?
Why would I do that? I put a lien on it. I put a lien on it and then created my own because I'm the creditor. But see, here's the thing, Justice Willie. The Universal Commercial Codes state that they put forth a principle called perfection by control. Perfection by control. Perfection by control is who controls it. Your lien is perfected when you control all the documents associated with that lien. You don't control something that wasn't created by you. Mm-hmm. You don't. Those are not your letters patent because you didn't write them. So you must patent your own letters, and all we do is write and sign. That's a patent. That's patent on the letters. We did that, and we stated that with our fiduciary document. So, Justice Willie, we would suggest that you go and pick any video, just pick one, any video from Light Tajiri Bay Channel, any one, and just start listening. Underneath the video is links to many documents that we've done, many documents. But our concern is that you do the 40-something documents that state that you're the governor, you're the president, you're the law Yah, which is a law God. That's what law Yah means. We've done all of those. The American Bar Association ain't but one set of Americans, and that's us. So all we did was state that our state security number is our bar number, is our British Accreditation Registry number. For us, we created that, not anybody else. This is not registered under anything foreign. We do it. And then we nationalize all logos, all of them. I don't care who claiming to own the logo, Microsoft, ABA, all of that. They don't own nothing. We do that. We do that. We nationalize all of that. And then we start sending out documents from the chief executive officer for Microsoft, or the chief executive officer for King County Superior Court, or wherever. We do that. We send that stuff out. So we would add. And then as far as the subject, Anavon Wright-Singer, and the stuff she's doing, all she's doing is pointing you to us. She got the memo. She knows what we're doing. So she's telling you the same things that we're already doing. We're already the grand jury, the court, the Congress. We're already that. Why do we open up every Congress with court action language for a reason, because we know we're the court. So we suggest that you go back and just take a look at some of the videos, when you have time. And again, our freedom is top priority, so everybody has time to go back and look at the videos. Go back and look at them, and then demonstrate those documents. Print the documents out. You got examples there, and then craft those documents for yourself.
Is it in the form of templates?
It is. You could call it that. You could call it that, but it's really just a document. It's an affidavit. It's affidavits. All you have to do is download them, look at them, and then type them up for yourself. So I
remember recently. Sorry to interrupt you. I went to a link, and it lead me to your Google Drive. That's the one you're talking, right?
Yes, it's that. It's on there. They are on a Google Drive. Noble Phoenix put something in the chat, Justice Willie. He said authenticated the BC in the birth certificate in 2014 did not stop them from attacking my body to test my resolve to stand. So, and common law is not the supreme law for the land. We are the supreme law for the land.
Correct. And if I may add to that, the reason I put that in there is I looked at her work over the years, and I know because she came out specifically and said it at one point. No, the land is ours. Okay, excuse me, how does a European claim our land that's been around for 10,000 years? They can't. They can't.
Yeah.
So, don't be disillusioned. We got the truth and we got the real deal here already, and we're doing what we're supposed to do with our court actions, and they're working. You just got to, again, adjust your mindset so as to recognize this is the way. This is the way for us. We don't need to follow somebody else's way. We have our own, and it's working. That's all I want to encourage you, brother. Islam. Yeah.
Justice Willie, listen, you are the law. You are the law, but you must know that. And the emotions are there to keep you from seeing that. That's why we all have to make sure that we stay calm and just demonstrate and make sure that we know the court action language, because that's what we do. All we do is court. We're court every time our mouth opens, we're the law. Every time our mouth opens, we're the law. So, and that again goes in alignment with the question on the screen. When you exercise your authority to remove an actor from acting as a judge, you are the judge. That is how you switch everything back to what it should be. What must you do as you are stating your removal of the stated person? You do court action language. Always at the top of all of your affidavits, court action language. Okay? And then you can state things. For example, Justice Willie, whatever the name of the court, the quote-unquote court, because it's not a real court until you are the government over that court. But let's say if the court was called the King County Superior Court, then you would just take whatever logo they use. You would put some red in the logo because you're going to nationalize it, put some life in it because usually they're black. Their logos are black because they're for black people. Black persons rather. You change the logo, and then you issue as a national logo. you issue that. It's national and it's the government speaking, and you're the head magistrate. According to the Circle 7, you're the head magistrate, and they're the subject. Because see, chapter 29 is magistrate and subject. We are the magistrates, all of us. We're the justices. So we just issue rulings and verdicts and judgments and justice all over the place. Every time we send something out, it's got some justice and judgment with it. It is justice and judgment. So again, and then Justice Willie, you want to send it to the right address. You want to make sure you get it to the right court, which is your court. So we don't use their addresses, we use our addresses, which are, ours don't have any abbreviations or substitutions in it. Now let's there was another section here really quickly. Now doubles, letters patent. Again, this address right here, this is an example of doubles. This top one is someone pretending to send something, but that's a corpse right there address, because there's no such thing as WA as a state. That's not a state. No two-letter state, not even at Canaan land, not even at Jamaica, nowhere. No two letters, anything, no abbreviations, none of that. Because an abbreviation is a substitution, even according to Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. So when you send things, you spell everything out. Did you know that when you spell everything out, it's a different court than if you use abbreviations and substitutions, like they do, like the dead did previously? They're playing the doubles on those who don't know. And then again, the sovereigns have been granting a privilege, not a right, but a privilege to one or more individuals, causing the use of invalid letters. Don't let them play the doubles on you. They have a Willie, but you're the real Willie. So you speak for the real Willie. Moors, and that goes for all Moors. The sovereign holy appellation that your mother gave you at birth is a living being. Then someone was down there at the end of the table waiting to play the doubles on you. And capitalize that name and create their own documents with it and all of that. And when they created their own documents, they began doubling things. It's called double booking. But they put everything in debtor language. So you put it in creditor language. And not just creditor, but equitable language. What's the difference between equity and equality? Because there's no such thing as equality with the sovereigns. There isn't, except that among sovereigns. Our subjects are not equal to us. That's why they're called subjects. And we're not saying that out of ego or anything. That's just by definition. Debt goes to court, and that's any court, really. Debt goes to court. Equity is the court, and the creditor is the judge or the justice. So please know that. Know your role. Know your role, everyone.
I hate to have to be interjecting, but I don't want you to take these people. I do understand or understand all that you're saying and agree with what you're saying. But when you're playing with people who are not playing by any rules, and they use the use of their force and tyranny upon the people, which is the only authority that they think they have, That is one of my concerns, because we can always do some stuff, but they can always override with the use of force against us, which is taking your body into their cages and their shackles, and we know that that is unlawful, and that is what I do understand the rate of.
Don't break the law, then you won't go to jail. Don't break the law, and you won't go to jail.
And you are the law. That's correct. You're the law.
No, but let me address him. Let me address him.
No, Willie. No, please don't.
Okay, because most of the time, what they do is they don't go by law, they go by codes. And the law is not code. The code is not the law, and that is where a lot of us don't understand. A law is when you hurt somebody. That's when you break the law. What these people have is codes and statutes that has nothing to do with any injured party, or you can face and question your accuser or whatever. So, I
hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. You're saying they're not fair. You said that 3 or 4 times. That's a spell that you're casting. We've heard enough of that, please. Because see, you have to look past what they're doing to see who they are. You're going to have to get their identity and your identity straight. And that starts with what comes out of your mouth. You keep giving them glory and praise and authority by what you're saying. And guess what? They're going to listen to this on the public record. They're going to hear that, and they're going to say, he's still saying we can come and get him, so let's go get him. You must stop that, and I cannot let you continue like that on this platform, because that's just not how that's not how you free yourself, by continuing to praise them, because that's what you're doing. You're worshiping. It's called worship when you keep talking about how mighty and powerful they are when they're not. They're not. And the only way you're going to know that is to keep going through what you're going through until you get it. I don't want to see you keep going through that, because it's been about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years since the first time you and I came in contact with one another, and it's been beautiful. You've got to watch what comes out of your mouth. See, you said, now just hear me, you said they don't care what you say, they don't care what's on your paper. Oh, okay. Well, they won't care what you say if you're incompetent to say the right things. And I'm not calling you incompetent, but the words you're using are incompetent. They have no authority unless you give it to them. You breathe the breath of life into a zombie, and a zombie is going to jump up and start doing things. That's why they're called shell corporations, because there's nothing on the inside until you breathe life into them. We've just decided we're not going to do that. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. It's a shell. So what we do is we speak to our system, but we had to create our system. My system is here in blue or black. It doesn't even matter what color the ink is. At the bottom, this one at the here, and I'll put me at the top because we're supposed to be at the top of everything. Anything you see in those types of black ink with brackets or without brackets, if it's not written by you, they're not talking to you. You must rebut what they're saying. And we're gonna continue and keep going, because again, debt goes to court, fake court. Equity is the court, the real court. And the creditor is whoever is being the justice. We are the creditor. We keep saying that, but not only are we stating that, we're demonstrating that. The right address places a debtor in your court. So when you use the right address, you will place the debtor in your court. We've done it. There are court actions on the public record, like Tajiri Bay Channel, where you can see us calling corpses in, stating, issuing sentence on corporations doing business as and all of that when we said stop it. And to this day, every court action that we've done, at least one of them has been arrested. At least one to this day, including a corpse named Donald Trump. So then the one that's left is the subject named Donald Trump. That's the living subject of the Moors. But as long as they are acting as dead corpses, then we do a court action and terminate all of their commerce and all of that, their pretended commerce. The wrong address places you in the wrong court. And again, that's by your doing, Moors. And I'm talking to everyone at this point. Debtors get to play doubles with the name when you address the wrong venue, the black venue, instead of being the court and being the creditor. Not only are you the court, but you're also the justice. Not only are you just the justice and the court, you're also the clerk. You are the whole court. We all are. And here's something that we all must know. Debt has an end. Equity is perpetual. It's into perpetuity. And we'll give you an example of that in just a moment. Equity owns and collects payment. Debt pays. So again, this is all about the court. Who is the court? We are. We must be the court no matter what. No matter what. It doesn't matter what. And we've proven that. Again, this is a debtor address right here because it's got abbreviations and substitutions, and we don't know what any of that means. We don't know what WA means. That's not a state. We don't know what SW means. That could mean unum sanctum or subject of worthlessness, or it could mean anything. So we don't do that, and we don't answer to that. What we do is we do a court action on that, sent from the right place, from the creditor. So we'll come back to equity, creditor, and debtor topics shortly, but we will to move to something really important about wealth literacy. We have some wealth literacy questions because we're going to show you something really quickly today about our money and about the things we're doing. We must put this on the public record quickly. Not quickly, but we say quickly by our own will because of what is going on in our nation as far as us growing so quickly. Is your trust set up properly? First lawfully and then legally? Is the trust set up properly? I can say this, we do things in threes. There's a lawful trust, there's a legal trust, and then there's the spiritual trust that we are demonstrating right now. Because we are all demonstrating together who we are demonstrating what a trust looks like. Just one moment. By coming together like we're coming together and like we've been coming together, we are demonstrating what trust looks like. Are you aware that all money should come from your trust using the proper legal process? Now we're talking about our personal trust because this is going to be really important. This includes automatic teller machine system withdrawals. Are you aware that when we pull money from the ATM, our ATM, that we pull that money from our trust, and we all have our own automatic teller machine systems. Our government has had that since time immemorial, but we'll show you what it looks like. Have you demonstrated, and see, I know, just so that we're clear, I know that this information right here is the information that that we must put on the public record, particularly now. And then, have you demonstrated the process of legally withdrawing money from your trust? Are your withdrawals properly recorded, and can you prove your response? The reason we're asking these questions, and Justice Earl, I will yield the floor in just a moment. The reason we're asking these questions is because we've done demonstrations in the past, but we must demonstrate the whole process from start to finish, which means where did the money come from and where is it going? Because we're the bank. Justice Earl, Islam.
Just a request to open the door for Nova, please.
Islam. So again, is your trust set up properly, first lawfully and then legally? Lawfully, our trusts are on Moorish government letterhead. It starts with court action language, the court action language. And for those who don't know what the court action language is, it's right here. This is our court action. We start every Congress with this language right here at the top of the page. So if you will, to take a screenshot of that language and memorize it and learn it and remember it, because we were always the court. And then with this, we ask questions. You know, once we state who we are and then we ask questions of whoever we're doing the court action on. The first question is always, what is your name? And as soon as they say a name, that means that they have yielded jurisdiction to us. Why? Because we are the ones doing the court action in the first place. We've already stated that we're the sovereign living justice. And and the moment we ask the questions, we're already demonstrating our authority to do so. Okay? So we're asking these questions right here because this is one of the final steps. And for a lot of people, they felt like they did these initially at the beginning. We will to clarify the process. We will to clarify the process, because even when you're demonstrating domiciles, conveyances, court, whatever you're demonstrating, the money has to come from somewhere. It has to go somewhere. It has to be accounted for. And because we have our own money system, financial and wealth literacy is our priority, is a priority. Nationality is the priority. So, and here's the thing regarding a question that was asked earlier about the birth certificate and authenticating things. We must be born again. What does that look like? Us creating our own birth certificate. We create a birth affidavit, a living birth affidavit, which is on 8.5 by 14 legal size paper. Then we create a birth certificate. And the birth certificate looks a lot like the fraudulent one that was issued. We don't use any of their stuff. We create our own everything. We've created our own courts. We've created our own driver's licenses. We've created our own money. We've created our own everything, legal system and everything. The lawful comes first in terms of the difference between lawful and legal, which is not really different. They're connected. So setting up your trust lawfully is stating your trust on Moorish government letterhead. And for those who may not know, this is Moorish government letterhead right here. You can even take a screenshot of this and copy and paste it onto the top of your documentation so that you have Moorish government letterhead at all times. And then we do the court, and then you would automatically put this court action language at the top. Okay, and then you can state whatever it is that you're going to state, and the government is there. Okay, because you're the government. Now, I did not put that in the chat. There is a fraudulent dead letter in person who put that in there. I'm actually ensuring that I speak properly about that. Let's see. Let me find that and put that out as well. There it is. Okay. So with that being stated, these questions that we have placed here on the screen, the reason we have these questions here is because we will to show these processes finally, because we're, again, our economic power and authority is in full effect. It always has been, always will be. Setting up your trust then legally would be putting it on some legal trust letterhead that you've created. So if, for example, my legal trust is Pauline Denise Ritchie, you know, whatever the trust name is, that has its own legal letterhead, and it's on 8.5 by 15, which is, 8.5 by 10, which is the legal version of the 8.5 by 14 trust, and they say the same thing. Can anyone state how you would go about having money come from your trust that you pull from an automatic teller machine system? Does anyone have any idea, or not idea, does anyone have any, even a suggestion about how that would best happen, knowing our money system that we have? Now we have we have a way for it to happen. We've demonstrated it, and it works very well. Okay, so recently, and this is the response to the question, recently we issued $10 to King County for a title deed to a property. Well, we have to prove where that $10 came from. So what we did was we record the $10 on our banking ledger, and for some that ledger is in Excel, and for others it's Google Sheets. We've shown how to use Google Sheets to make your bank ledger. And when you put it on your bank ledger,
them ATMs are full of fiat.
You put it on that.
Full of fiat. You're never going to.
So, this is how you do it. Withdrawing money from the automatic teller machine. Prepare any documents that will go with the money, as we've demonstrated in previous congresses. And all we demonstrated was that whenever we send Dollarium out anywhere, there's always documentation that goes with it explaining what it's for. That is learning, that is wealth literacy. Okay. In the previous era, we did not know how to use money. So we must financially and wealth-wise erudite ourselves. The second thing to do is record the amount to be withdrawn on your bank account spreadsheet. So you're going to prepare your documentation before you make the withdrawal. Then withdraw the amount from your automatic teller machine, and let us show you what ours looks like. It's as simple as that. This is our automatic teller machine. It's a printer.
That's a fucking printer, you dumb bitch.
And we exactly, and we print. Just a moment, and we print our money out. It's coming out of the machine, just like it would a teller machine, quote unquote, from the previous era. which wasn't real money. We print it out, and then we put it together we autograph it, we stamp and seal it, we put our embossment on it, we autograph it with our sovereign autograph, which was the real money anyway, and then we send it out, or we use our Dollarium that way, and then carry or send your documents to the proper court according to proper addressing. Because every address is a jurisdiction. Every address is a court. You must know that. And when you do that, it will be honored automatically with the proper address. And again, a termination of all corporate contracts is mandatory. It's mandatory, if you will, to have proper results. It's mandatory that there be no contracts with the dead. That's called necromancy. And then here's the thing. All of the stuff is already yours. You have to restate all of your things. And restating all of your things can be as simple as putting it in a trust, properly stated. For those who've done the termination of all corporate contracts document that we suggested, is one of the 40 documents. You've done the termination of all corporate contracts. You can go back and look at that document and restate everything on that document, and and all of your stuff is yours. It's properly recorded and everything. So you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just restating everything properly. That would mean vehicle identification numbers, which they were calling VIN numbers in the previous era. Vehicle identification numbers must be restated. All that is, and restating is just put it in an affidavit and state that it's your property, and a trust document will do that. Everything that, whatever it is, must be restated. Okay? So again, if you think, and this is just for those who tend to doubt sometimes that because you're really doubting your own authority if you think you can't do this. That's why they were saying, oh, all they're doing is printing money. They're printing money, talking about the actors from the previous era that were previously acting as Federal Reserve. Oh, they're just printing money. They just got a printer in there and they're just printing money. Well, we have the authority to print real money because they were not printing anything real. So we're rebutting that. And then we forward it with proper documentation, of course, affidavits, liens, levies, bonds, whatever it is. So now that you have made your withdrawal from your ATM, your automatic teller machine, which is a printer, and that's all that other thing was anyway. It was printing receipts and things. Then you forward your documentation as you should. With regard to your trust, there are two ways to create an express trust. These are declaration of self as a trustee and the transfer of property to trustees. For an express trust, the three certainties must always be present: certainty of intention, objects, and subject matter. If any of these are doubtful, the trust will be rendered invalid. Now, this is just another statement of our authority and ability to state things according to our will. If we can create a trust, we can certainly create money, because a trust is money. Now, let's talk about what this is really saying. First of all, someone has to transfer the property to the trustees. Who's that going to be? Who has that authority? Of course we do. First, and they're saying declare yourself as trustee. The only one that can really declare you as trustee is the trustor, the one creating the trust. That goes back to our court action language at the beginning of all Congresses. We're the trustees and trustors. We created the trust. We're the grantor and grantor. The grantor creates the grant. The grantor conveys the grant to the grantee. And when they say things about certainties, what did we say about the word certain? And we stated this even in the Biblios, the Bible. Anytime you see the word certain, it's talking about a sovereign. If there was a certain woman or a certain man, you'll see in the Biblios where they had the authority to do certain things that others didn't have. But then they got tripped up and ran into some issue because of identity. So the Biblios was even trying to tell people about nationality, even where, and when we say Biblios, we're talking about the original indigenous Bible as written by the Moors, because we wrote the first ones. Paul declared his nationality, and when he did that, they had to set him free out of the jail. He declared who he was, and they got scared. He knew that they couldn't, and here's the thing. Paul, in the Biblios, what was Paul known for? He was known for his writing. Paul wasn't even a disciple. He was an attorney. He was a lawyer. And he wrote the books, a good portion of the New Testament. So he knew about the letters. He knew that he had to write everything if it was going to be followed by anyone. So we write everything. Certainty of intention is about who you are. Certainty of objects and subject matter is about property. And if there's a doubt about any of these, the trust will be rendered invalid. What does that mean? That means that if you don't know that you are the trustor, then any trust is rendered invalid. You must create your own trust and then appoint yourself sovereigns. We had some issues when we first, and it wasn't issues for us, it was issues for the ones stating that those things. There was a point where, some Moors were saying, Light has appointed herself a judge, Yes. Actually, Mother did that. But they didn't know that Mother did that for them too. That's why they had a problem with us doing it. Because they didn't know, yes, that's not optional when you have an estate. It's not optional for you to be a judge or not be a judge. It's not optional. You must be the judge for your own estate. You must. No one else can do that. No one else can do that. Are there any questions, comments, wisdom, etc.? Now that we've calmed everything down and gotten to the topics at hand and to the matters at hand, this automatic teller machine piece is going to be really important in the next few days and weeks. I'm just saying, because some things have happened, and some don't see it now, but yes, you can print your own money. And then what you do is you restate the places that you will to use your money. You restate those places. Make them all Article 3 courts, including the grocery store and any other place.
Your funny money will be rejected.
That's a must, because guess what? There's no alternatives to our money. There's no alternatives. The gold and silver that they've been giving were not coins. Those are rounds. ROUNDS, rounds. That's not money. Not money. And see, here's the thing. Let's just mention this really quickly, Moors. Some Moors were like panicking because they don't have the fiat to go and buy gold and silver coins, quote unquote. Some of them don't have that. Some Moors don't have that. Fortunately, you don't need it. You print your money because it was your signature that was the money in the first place. And guess what? Gold and silver, if this Congress said we're going to suspend the value of gold and silver and you must use Dollarium, that everyone would have to do that, and the value of gold and silver would be suspended until we say otherwise. So it gets its value from us too. And we thinking about that. We're just thinking about it.
I affirm either way, Islam.
We're just thinking about it. Because we sent gold to our treasury, which we know we're the treasury, and it went to the right court. So it had to be honored by
your daughter even knows you're crazy, you stupid dumbass.
By the system, honored by the system. Because we're not talking to people, we're talking to a system. We don't have to talk to people. We don't have to talk to actors acting as judges and actors acting as, we don't have to talk to them. All they're doing is acting on paper. They're acting on a paper that they received out of a system. A system told them something, and a system said, oh, this didn't happen, so this has to happen. There is an algorithm. The algorithm said this didn't happen, so this had to happen. So we're going to print a piece of paper. The system will spit out a piece of paper. So we speak to the system so that it spits out the right paper. Then we don't have to talk to fake actors. We speak to the system. It's our system.
Islam,
Empress.
I'd just like to share this article I've seen. So the general consensus of this article is artificial intelligence concerning property and real estate, because they're even moving the, how you, facilitate acquiring a domicile through the system.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to put that on the record and let that be known that that's because of we have been doing everything and has always been the system.
Yes. Let me say this too about where the money comes from. So the government has already put on the record that everyone has $100 million in their trust. However, Morris, where competence is concerned to pull some of that, you have to justify the use of it. And when we say justify the use, you're not justifying it to anyone but yourself. How are you going to pay your trust back? Because it's your trust. So let's say I took out $50 million from my trust. Well, what am I going to do with that $50 million? What am I going to do with it? So that needs to be written out. And then just publish it somewhere or send notification somewhere, wherever you're going to do it. For example, if I was going to do sea salt or whatever, then I would notify the subjects in the Office of Food and Drug Ministry, or the United States, Agriculture Ministry. And of course the the address would be correct. It would be properly stated with no abbreviations and no substitutions and none of that, no acronyms and all of that, none of that. We would notify, and then we would say, okay, this is what we're going to do with the sea salt, with to manufacture our sea salt. This is what our projected sales are for the first year, and this is how we'll reimburse our trust back. Our trust. We're going to reimburse the creditor, which is us. We'll reimburse our trust by doing this, and we plan on having the payments go back to our trust every month, and that's done on your ledgers as your receipts come in, however you choose to do it. Most of us will be working at the equitable level. What's the equitable level? We will be coming together and buying out companies and things like that. That way, when we're buying out companies and restating company bylaws and putting the proper address on the structures and things like that, and then all of us come together and put our money in from our trust. And when we put our money in from our trust, there has to be a way for our trust to get the money back. So we wait for the business to do whatever the business is going to do. If it's a auto manufacturer or a computer manufacturer or whatever, we come together and we fund it, and then that thing gets to work. It gets to work. People start working and doing things. So Islam nobility.
Can you say where I can find that quotation about we have $100 million? Where can I find that statement?
If you will Google Moorish Trust 100 million each, it'll probably come up. It's all over the public record. Many Moors earthwide put that on the public record. So you should be able to find it anywhere. I believe we have it in one of our folders in the links under the video as well. It's one of those documents there. It's also a part of the 40+ documents that we're encouraging all Moors to put on the public record that are linked under each and every video that we put out there.
Oh, yeah. Here was I mistaken for... you're talking the de facto government that says that. You're talking about the Moorish government. Okay.
There's no de facto government. We're the government with facts. There's no de facto government. There's no such thing. A de facto government is someone whose government in fact, but they're not de jure at law government. That doesn't exist. We are both de jure and we are the government with facts. We're the factual government, actual factual government. So we speak to the system. We don't have to speak to persons. We don't have to speak to persons. We speak to our system, and the system tells the subjects whatever, or the public record whatever, according to what we state. When you address the system properly, it will quash a war rant, because the war rant is issued with improper identity and all of that. We wouldn't be sitting here if that didn't work. I'm just telling you. But we know who our person is. We created our person. So, everything that we're doing, we're moving forward. We're moving forward because we know that thing that was previously pretending to be a government is finished and done and broke and busted down and gone on into the black hole. That thing's finished. So we're going ahead and governing. Whenever we say government, we can only be talking about us, period. We don't even talk about them, any fakes or actors like that. We don't talk about them like that. We don't call them de facto government because they're not. They never were, and we just keep moving forward because identity has been properly established on the public record of who's who. We established it. We all did. You know, and again, those 40-something documents that we have linked under, we would encourage you to just go through each one, just read it, and then state what it states. They're written in ancient English, and again, we have complete control over all language. You know, but jurisdictionally, we will to state, because as a nation, all nations have their own language that everyone in the nation can understand and understand. That is the definition of a nation. A nation has their own economy, their own money, they have their own language, and then they have territory, land. So with those things, we know we have all of that. So we're just continuing to demonstrate that. We don't give any glory or credence to corpses at all, because they don't exist as far as we've already done away with that. Funny mirror actions and acting. So who's doing the transferring? Again, the trustor here. So for a listing of trust property, those who've done the termination for all contracts, all corporate contracts or corpse contracts. Here, let me go ahead and make sure that that's properly stated here as well. U.S. There. So again, for a listing of trust property, those who've done the termination for all U.S. corporation company contracts can review the list from your termination for all contracts and include any property or work accounts that you restated as part of the list of trust property. Yesterday, I completed, because I've been adding things to my trust, and I completed and printed out my entire trust affidavit. And we encourage everyone to do the same, to include those things that we've claimed, because with us finishing up where the money is coming from, stating where it comes from and where it goes, with us completing that part of our of stating who we really are, things will start manifesting. So we must put those, make sure that those things are in our trust beforehand. Okay. Are there any questions, comments, wisdom regarding pulling money from the machine, the automatic teller machine? Withdrawing Moorish sovereign Dollarium from the automatic teller machine. Most have done this already. Let's see. So there's a question in the chat regarding being stuck on things like rent, phone, and other things that you're desiring to be unstuck. Our question is, have you done the 40-something documents? And you don't have to answer this now, just keep this in mind. Number one, have you done the 40-something documents so that you know who you are? Number two, any claim that you sent to the VA, was everything spelled out? You know, we don't call them the VA, we call them the Veterans Ministry. And then you use the proper address so that it will get to the proper place, and so on and so forth. And then do you know that you are to issue your own judgment and your own justice regarding your claims? And then you speak to the system, and the system will tell the subjects that are there what the status of the claim is. We've done that. We had to do that. We had to do that demonstration, and we showed that demonstration when we did it, because we are our person is a veteran as well. Our person used to be in the Air Force, and about 3 years ago, we got some. There was some correspondence sent to the person stating that we have to declare who our dependents are, and if this information is not received by this date, whatever. So we did a court action. We sent the fiduciary document with it. We put the VA, the nationalized VA logo on the top of the document, issued our ruling, stated who we are. We looked at the form that they sent, and we didn't send that form. We sent a VA, our version of the form, and we received the raise that we were supposed to receive for dependents, which was coming up that January, because they give you a cost of living. The system gives a cost of living raise in January, and they verify dependents, before that time period. So we've had to do that demonstration. We didn't send them anything back that they sent us. We restated everything and issued it from our court, and it was honored. So we suggest that you do the same thing. Listen, we must do these things because there are some who don't have the fiat that has to do the demonstrations, and those who have the fiat, that piece is going away so quickly, you're going to have to demonstrate too. You're going to have to. And so we're just stating that you must issue the rulings in your own favor. Everything must come from you because you're the source of the resources. And you all know that it is late in the game, in this, it's late in terms of that previous enactment, that previous system that was calling itself a financial system and calling itself money and calling itself Federal Reserve and all of that. It's none of that. So Moors must get these things done. I was listening to one of our brothers today, and one of our brothers who's on YouTube frequently, and you all know this brother if I stated his appellation, but I won't state it at this time. But our brother, he sounded like I don't know what was going on with him, but he sounded like, well, I do know. He was frustrated because he was saying that they need to get a protection, the same thing Justice Willie was stating about a military or army or some protection. People want to bring out the guns. And as we stated, you can't, the only people that I hear, and I'm probably going to offend a couple of people with this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The only people I hear talking about gunning up or armying up or militias and things like that, the only Moors I hear talking about that are Moors that are still using fiat and then wondering why people keep kicking in their door. We have to at least move in the direction. You may not be able to get off the fiat all at once, but you got to be moving in the direction of getting off of it. Any processes where you can not use it, don't use it. And then be working on the other areas where you can get off of it. You must. There's no choice in that. That's not optional. That's not optional. People think it's optional. It's not optional. You must move in the direction of, because you already see what's coming. We're here already. All of us. That's what's coming. That's who's coming. We're here. And that situation is not getting any more relaxed in terms of those who are thinking they're going to relax on fiat another 5 years. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You might as well go ahead and start looking at some of these videos, start preparing to print out Dollarium, start knowing how to use your money system, because, see, believe it or not, none of us were taught how to use money in that previous era. None of us were taught how to use money. So financial and wealth literacy is a top priority, is one of the top priorities for our nation. And you can't do that with debt. You can't do it with somebody else's. And listen, if you think, and this came to me earlier today as I was watching the brother talk about, getting guns and things and all of that. But then I commented a little bit about, have you gotten off the fiat yet? Because we hear the frustration, but we know they're coming for contracts or going there for contracts. They're not coming for contracts. They're enacting contracts. And when you say that, people don't want to look at that piece. But you have to. You have to. You have to, and you have to demonstrate that. This is not something we didn't do. We had to do it too. We had to do it. We didn't have a choice. We had to. And I'm just grateful that our ancestors know what they're doing with us. We haven't missed a meal unless we were fasting, and that was our own doing. However you're led to do that. There's someone, Empress Aisha, put something in the chat. She said, if you still have funds in the fiat system, can you lean it and put it into the silver and gold system? Let your spirit lead you on what to do with it. Now, and I'll say this again, don't do anything out of fear. If you're moving fiat out of the banking system out of fear, we wouldn't suggest doing anything like that out of fear. We suggest that you do the study, and when your spirit says, okay, now move it, then you move it. We use when we did have access to fiat, we used all of it. And when I say all, sometimes I had like nothing, and it was still 3 weeks away from any more credits coming in. This was back before. We used all of it to buy printers and ink and things so that we could free ourselves. That's what we did. It was our top priority. It's been that way for 6 years, 7 years, since we woke up. We put everything we had into what we've done thus far. Getting our courts up and going, getting our banking going, getting our everything, our legal system going, the lawful and legal system, everything, getting our post office going, and all of that. We put everything that we had into that. And now we see how important that was, and we also are reaping the benefits of that even now. We're reaping the benefits. Okay, thank you for that. There's a Noble Things put in the chat about not being clear about how we're pulling money from our trust, from an ATM from our trust. How are we pulling Dollarium out of an ATM that is not loaded in it? So again, here's the thing. First, you go to wherever your banking records are, because you should have your own, you should be in control of your banking records. Everyone should be in control of their banking record. You should have a spreadsheet somewhere, even if it's something where you're hand ledgering. Get a pen and a piece of paper and ledger out your bank records. You must start with 100 million, move some of it to a trust where, let's say, if you're starting a business, you can do that. You move some on your ledger from one part of the ledger to another part of the ledger. And then if you're going to pull something out, like if you're going to print out Dollarium to do whatever, like I sent $10 to the system of King County, excuse me, King County tax assessor, because I'm the tax assessor, but it's a system. So I sent 10 Dollarium to that system. I pulled that Dollarium out of a particular fund that's on the ledger, and then on the ledger, you make a note that, okay, 10 came out of this fund. And then you print it out on your ATM printer, your automatic teller machine printer. Let me show you my ATM, my automatic teller machine printer. There it is right there with Dollarium on it.
Okay, Islam. See, that was the confusion right there.
Yeah.
Because you kept saying ATM, and you know doggone well everybody was thinking an ATM. You knew that.
I did. I did.
You needed to clarify that. That's why I'm sitting here saying there is no freaking way that Dollarium is sitting in those machines, because they ain't put it in there, because they don't even have the authority to print it.
You thought that through before you even said anything.
Right, I did. And I know it was not in the machine. So I'm like, something she didn't tell us.
Keep thinking, keep thinking, keep thinking. We're in control of everything. We're the bank. So where is it going?
And that's why I'm like, no, something's missing. I need her to state what's missing with what she stated, because people are confused, and I know that just cleared it up for a whole bunch of people right there.
Okay, and you know what, Justice Phoenix, I will accept that 100%. I was hoping, and I'm grateful that you said it. It was not an oversight. I'll say that. I did that on purpose.
Okay.
I did it on purpose.
I'm not gonna say you're trying. I'm just saying that was just for us to think it through. I got it.
Think it through. Think it through. We have the authority to do all of this right now.
Islam
nobility.
Do you travel overseas?
I have not done that demonstration yet, but I will be doing that demonstration.
Okay, because I wanted to know what do we have to replace the port pass or the passport that they issue if we have one that we issue.
We do have one. You create it. Whatever you create will be your, and you call it your passport, it's going to be your passport. Because the other ones are not going to get people overseas anyway. We see that with Floyd Mayweather and some of the others. They have passports and can't get back.
Yes. Islam?
Can't get back with all that quote-unquote fiat and can't move because the passport ain't helping them. So we must create our own passport. We must. And then demonstrate them. And the way we demonstrate them is we send ahead. We send ahead court actions ahead of time. We must. We don't have, that's not optional. That other system's done. It's finished. Noble Phoenix, Islam.
Okay, first, could you open the meeting? Brother Justice Dawood would like to get back in. Thank you. And then secondly, we just finished our demonstration with the commercial driver's license being issued from the United States Transportation and Travel Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
The subjects in the office of were all put on notice this past week. That was emailed, it was faxed, and a certified mail is also going out tomorrow to finalize that. So it's going out in 3 different capacities, 3 different ways to the subjects in the office of, so that they're notified. Not only is that old contractor gone, that because he terminated the contract, the Moore, we reissued the license. I got a lot of assistance and technical direction and competent issuing of that license with the assistance of Brother Leon and Sister Jay out of Colorado. So they helped me design that, put it together, and get it out, printed out. So it is in full effect, and now the subjects are being noticed of that. That's the way it is, and it was all done by court action.
Islam.
So the court action addressed not only the who we are, who they are. You know, I'm going by the outline of what we stated many Congresses ago. Then what is the cause of action? And then what is the adjudicated commandment or order?
Yes.
And so I did all three of them. That was done as a writ of restitutio or mandamus, I forget which, or maybe both. And so that was all done.
Good.
So for the brother asking the question about a passport, it's within his hands, with his two hands and his mind, that can create what he needs to make that happen. And you just said you got to notice them. So before you go try to travel, you send out a notice to them to let them know the higher court has decided and accepted and recognize that. You got to recognize it yourself, because that's who you are. And you put that through and you give them notice. You're going to be traveling in such and such a state. Such and such a date. You are head of state. We can't forget that.
Yeah.
So when you're traveling, let the people know you're traveling, coming through that ports, whatever it is, wherever you're going. They can offer you the protection that you're looking for if you needed that. Okay?
Well, when the port is properly stated, you won't even have to worry about protection.
You don't need it. Exactly.
Because corpses cannot come to a port that's properly stated.
Yes. And so they'll just leave you alone, let you go through. So I just wanted to share that, Islam.
And here's the thing, even about that, when you ask, have I traveled overseas with that, we're already overseas, that's for sure. But here's the thing, all of my travel, anything that I was doing before I woke up came to a minimal as I realized what we had to do. I realized that we have to create everything all over. We had to do that. And so I was willing to not travel overseas or anything like that. And I had taken one trip at the beginning when I first woke up. I took one trip. It was a cruise with my kin. I believe that was 2000. No, that was actually 2016, and I woke up in 2017. So it was a year beforehand. But other than that, we were not doing any travel for a while there, and until we got these processes in place, because we're not willing to travel under false identity. And anybody attempting to travel under false identity, I would not recommend that. Or else you might not get back and listen. My nephew, someone, and I won't say which one and what side of the family, the kin line, but he went on a trip. He was going on a birthday cruise with a bunch of his friends. And this was some years back, about 2 years back, about 2 years ago. He was going on a trip with some of his friends. And he's really popular, you know, he's got a ton of friends and all of that. And they were going to Mexico. They were going to Cabo, I believe Cabo San Lucas or someplace like that. But he had some outstanding debt. Nothing major, nothing super major, but it was some outstanding debt. Do you know they waited until he got in the port at Mexico, and they said, you can't come here because of that debt. And he was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm already here. And they said, well, you can go to Puerto Rico. But you all know what's at Puerto Rico, don't you? The fakes were there at Puerto Rico. So they told him, the only place you can go, your passport is limited. The only place you can go is Puerto Rico. So he had to spend his time in Puerto Rico while everybody else was at Cabo because of a debt. Do you know how inconvenient that was and how embarrassing and all of that?
Isn't that an indication of the slave documentation that they're giving you from the corporation? Because if you are restricted from travel because of a debt, that means you are a debtor in their system. You ain't reported. And that passport did not do what you thought it did.
And he's not declared his nationality or anything. Here's the thing. Anybody thinking they're going overseas on a fake passport, and when I say fake, I mean issued by the fakes. The same ones that people are trying to keep from kicking their door in. Don't try to go nowhere like that. Nope, don't try to do that. We wouldn't suggest that. We would suggest, listen, I would feel better going someplace with the stuff I have now because I know how to do court actions. And that's what will be done. Except now, I also told our ancestors, and I've stated this before to you all, years back, I told the ancestors that I'm willing to not travel and not do anything unless I can do it using our money and using our identifications and things. I said that's the only way I'm going to do it. That's the only way I'll do it. So it has been it's been a test for me because there are some places that I will to go. You know, people close to me have gone places that I just was not going to do it. So I made the sacrifice to not do that until we can use our own, because I don't will to be limited financially or otherwise in where we go. I just don't will to do that. And now we can sense and feel in our spirit that it's about time to start traveling and using our money system, which is why we're where we are now. And we just have to plan ahead. We just have to plan ahead and then plan to demonstrate Islam.
So since as I have a friend who, how he approaches it is that he is sovereign, but he still takes citizenship and take their passport as a means of transportation because they provide a service and it's commerce. So they're just providing you a document because like in the Canadian thing, when you become a Canadian citizen, they're saying that you still have not lost your indigenous rights. So he went ahead and take it, and he travels rather than reinventing one that is not recognized. Blah blah blah. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think that using fiat is freeing anybody from anything. Because see, with those documents, you must use fiat. And anytime they will to go in your account and take or shut it down or do whatever, because that's a contract. Our will is that our money be honored. That's our will. Our living will is that our money be honored. We will do whatever that takes. We'll do that. Because no foreign matter should have that much authority over us. None. They're foreign. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So has it been some sacrifice and some frustration? It has been some sacrifice and frustration. Some days I really just will to go and see my kin. I miss my brothers and sisters. I wasn't able to do that because I wasn't willing to do it using their fiat, their debt. I'm not going to feed a debtor system when I'm not a debtor. If we're stating we're sovereign, why do we have to use debt? Why? I find that to be a contradiction, and I'm not about contradictions. I'm not at war with myself. I know who I am. Islam, Empress.
So if you're rebutting debt and they are calling you a debtor or a borrower, can you erase that, draw a line through it, and put down you're a creditor?
You must. But you have to prove you're a creditor, and that's the part right there that we are demonstrating, is proof that not only are we the creditor, we're the justice and jury and judge and all of that too.
Great.
We say what happens with our money and our bodies and our property and all of that. We get to say that.
Because I was doing that, but I wasn't 100% confident that it was the right thing to do.
It's always the right thing to be yourself. And it's, guess what? It's never the right thing to try and not be yourself.
Okay.
Because, you know, how can we tell other people, other nations, that they have to come here and do what we say as sovereigns when we can't even get them subjects in line and can't even get the system to do what? No, that system is going to obey. It's going to obey. It's doing that now. And we're just going to keep going.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, and I wasn't speaking to you in that tone, Empress. I was speaking to everyone.
Right.
You know, just so that you know, we honor you, Empress. Sometimes we get a little, you know, passionate about what we're stating, but listen, enough is enough. I don't want my Empress to have to go through the stuff I went through.
Right, because I was trying, you know, redoing my mortgage, and the mortgage, it shows that it was securitized way back in '94. It was already securitized. There was no debt. There's no debt due. So why do they want to try to come back and push me out?
Because that is a test for you to state who you truly are and all of that. If it was about the money, they would have been had done away with everybody. If it was just about that, it's not about that. This is a test for us to stand and be ourselves on our own land, because the whole earth was not being treated properly because we decided to go to sleep. We can't let that continue. So if that means that I can't hop on a plane and go shopping at Gucci, then I'm not going to do it. Enough is enough. You know, at some point we got to come out of that self and be the real self.
So then after I put those papers in the mail, I should be able to turn around and use it certiorari and do
you can, but you'll be certiorariing yourself. You'll be sending a case to yourself.
Right. And then I would have to rule on that case, right?
Yes, you must. Okay. And you can do that without a certiorari. You actually, see, we're supposed to be ruling anyway. That's treaty law right there.
Right.
But the constable is to decide all matters. So we're moving.
But we still do need to give notice to them.
To the system.
Okay.
You're not obligated to any person. You're not obligated to persons. You're obligated to you.
Okay.
And then the system, you just put the system in line. It's a system we're speaking to. That's why they keep talking about AI and artificial intelligence and all this stuff. It's a system.
Right.
We must speak competently to the system, and the system is looking for the Lord.
Okay. Well, I certainly got that part of it.
Of course you do, Empress. You're the Lord. You know that. Of course you do, Empress. Your truth center is living and vibrating and knowing who you are. You know. So no, we're not going to continue gallivanting around when we know we're supposed to be governing. Because listen, there's more travel than we can ever imagine when we govern properly. We can go anywhere, even places people who had those fake passports can't go.
Mm.
We can go anywhere, and I mean anywhere, when governing properly like what we're doing. Just be willing to step back a minute from all of that shopping and jumping around and partying and all of that. Be willing to step back from that for a little while. You ain't got to step back permanently, because I haven't stepped back permanently. I'm going to have a great time. I'm already having a great time. However, everything will be in proper order. No, I'm not going to continue using fiat for stuff. Nope, not doing it.
So I could really take, say, if you had a template of whatever kind of passport, you could take that and restate it in terms of
yes,
government passport and use that.
Yes, you sure can. Yes, absolutely. Yes, we must do that.
All right, then.
We must do that, because the other ones aren't. Those acting ones are not working for most folk. They're not working for most people.
Okay.
So Moors, be aware of that. Those things are not working for me, and that started years ago, where people were getting stopped and set down and paused, and then people, quote, and banks overseas were saying, if you got that thing, you can't have a bank account here at all. We showed that. We talked about it 2, 3 years, 4 years ago at this very Congress.
Islam, Empress.
Empress.
I'm sensing an overall theme where people somehow feel isolated unto themselves, why they think their situation is, only about what they're going through, and nobody else is going what they're going through, because that was an enemy tactic back in the day, where the enemy would make you feel and think like, woe is me, nobody knows what I'm feeling, no one knows what I'm going through. And by not being the knowledge of knowing who we are, we're the sovereign, we're the just we're the Christ, we're our own Savior and Redeemer, and all those things, accompanying the fact that we're going through something, that we are to render our own justice, render our own salvation. So I'm noticing a lot of people aren't necessarily paying attention to the overall remedy that is universal for every situation, because there's no situation that is isolated or unto one own people. It's all the same. It's all one remedy. You must apply it at all points in time.
Blah, 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 blah. You stupid fucking Negro.
Go ahead, Empress.
These remedies and these how we're to change this, what we are seeing, is because we all must come into one universe, one voice, and speak and declare and proclaim and demonstrate and do these things. And in this regard, it is a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
This is a one-size-fits-all remedy. It's not, okay, I have a situation, what do I do? No, it's the remedy is the remedy, that's the remedy. It is the remedy. And you like you just stated, there is no, oh, I think I'm going to do this, or I think I'm going to not do that, I'm going to do this, I don't want to do that, or I'm going to go out and party here, I'm going to go pay fiat there, I'm going to go, one day I'm going to pretend it is, no, and no.
Don't do it. Don't even think that.
Because this is as much of a celebration time as it is to get real time.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Celebrate and get real.
Is everybody coming to Federal Way like Pauline said this summer?
Thank you so much for that, Empress, because it is celebration time for us, definitely. But
what are we supposed to do though when these people won't recognize our currency?
You're supposed to pay your money.
What you do is, Empress, is you've got to tell them who they are. Because, see, if you give them the authority to do that, they'll do it. Okay, you must tell them who they are. Gotcha. See,
where's your major shift, bitch?
They were insane. They went insane. I'm telling you, they went insane. And the patients were running the asylum and so on and so forth. How no one can come from someplace else. Here, there you go. Be quiet. No one can come from somewhere else and call and be a judge over you, and you've been here since time immemorial. That's impossible. It doesn't make sense. And anyone thinking that there's a little bit of insanity going on there. Little bit of insanity going on there with the Moors.
Yeah, amen.
Thinking somebody can rule over you. So what do? You stand no matter what. That's what you do.
There's some crazy balling out of town.
Just a moment. And here's the thing. You know, I see someone in the chat saying that public servants have an obligation. That's not even who that is. They're not public servants either. They're subject to a system, and the system is subject to us.
Only in your make-believe fantasy land.
Let me prove that. Let me prove it right now. There. See? All it took was for me to push a button in a system, and that thing would be quiet. It's a system. We must speak to the system and command the system, and then anybody pulling paper off of a system and going out doing things because of what the papers say, they'll get the message. They'll get the memo. Morris, the system is our system. We must call it what it really is. We must do that. See, here's the thing. There's no more time to think that's optional. There's no more time for that.
The system rejected your conveyance and self-service.
There's no more time to even think that our money is not going to work. There's no more time for that. No more time for that. The actors were previously talking about a CBDC, which you don't even know what CBDC stands for. But let me tell you what CBDC really was attempting to stand for. I'll put it here on the screen to make it real clear.
Your fun money is never going to work.
Put it right here on the screen. CBDC. C and B, DC. And what was DC pretending to be? It was a corpse pretending to be a government. That's what it was standing for, or not standing for. That's what they were attempting to enact. But they can't enact anything when we have our own money and our own courts and all of that. See, Morris, our nation shall honor our own stuff. And here's the thing, everything already belongs to us, but we must honor our own things.
Delusional. You're all fucking delusional.
Everything belongs to us already. We must honor our own, the things of our own creation, our own making. We made it. That's what we made it was. You know how when people say, oh, we finally made it, we finally made it. That means they created it. And they got there where they were trying to go by creating the way. There's no more time for anything else. Governing is not optional. And here's the thing, the more remedy that we put on the public record, the tighter that boa constrictor of a thing is going to get on those who are being hard-headed about waking up. I'm just telling you.
And add in getting busy too, because one thing to wake up is another thing to get busy and demonstrate. Islam, that part.
Islam?
We can see that, though. We can see it getting tougher for those who don't want to let the fiat go. Islam, Justice Willie.
Can you give me the link to your website where you have the 40 documents? I'd like to start going through them.
Sure.
Thank you. In the chat?
So I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat. But if you go to any of the videos that we have on YouTube, it's underneath the video. The link is underneath the video. Angel, would you put that in the chat for him, please?
I was looking at one of the video and it led me to one of your Google Drive, but it doesn't say about the 40 documents. I'm not sure which ones is specifically. Are those it?
Yeah. Yes. Those are they.
Oh.
The documents are scripted in ancient English. Most of them are, but there's 2 links under there, so I'm not sure which link you see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to know the specific 40 that you're talking about.
Okay, let me put that in the chat.
So you don't have a website?
I don't have a website.
Okay. Okay.
And that's by choice. That's by choice.
Okay.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
I'm not sure if you have time after the call. I just need a short bit of your time.
Islam and
Naraje.
Oh, Islam. We shall. Just one moment. Let me put this in here. Yeah, we don't. There's no more time for people. You know, it's particularly Moors, because the remedy is on the public record, and because the remedy is on the public record, that previous system doesn't have any reason to even pretend to stand. Here, let me see. Let me go to my YouTube. And I will say this about the YouTube algorithms and stuff, it's getting better. It is definitely getting better. So I'll just go under any of these videos here on YouTube, and there's going to be a link under the video. The link to the 40 documents is, let's see. It actually could be either one of these folders, I think, because the other ones are ones that we stamped as head magistrates at King County. But these are the documents. This is it. So it's the top link that is the proper link. It's the first link that's the proper link. And when you go into the folder and you see these documents, this document here is numbered. Here, just one moment. It's numbered number 1, 001, 002, 003, 004. That's the beginning of the documents. All of these documents, they are in order. Yeah, so it's about 42, 43 documents or so. 42 or 43 documents. And again, they're scripted in ancient English because that is our national language for our affidavits. And then we use common English when we're doing company documents, when we've nationalized a logo. And let's say if because we are the chiefs at, let's say, Microsoft, we would restate the logo and then send out any commands or whatever to Microsoft, to the subjects in the office of Microsoft, giving them commands on whatever it is that is necessary for, for proper governance of those resources. So we use common English for that to speak to the system, and then we use ancient English to speak to the foundation of our system. Okay, so with this here, I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat. There's the link in the chat, Justice Willie. And those documents, just, you know, we've done, the Congress has participated in the putting forth of these documents on the public record. The people have done so as well. And so, you know, we just encourage everyone to do the same, Are there any other questions?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and we're just glad you're here, Noble Willie. We, you know, our conversations get kind of spirited sometimes, but we know that it's all love.
It's good energy. It's good energy.
It is indeed. We were going to do part 3 of 3. What is the difference between debt, credit, and equity? But that's something we can speak about at our next Congress. And the reason this is so important now is because we, with our trust being set up, with us knowing how to access our money, we can access the money. We can send our money electronically by way of email. So we have, and this was our goal with our money. We willed to have access to all of the different ways that we can access our money. So we will to have cards, merchant cards, an electronic system where we can send the money back and forth, which we can do that. What you do with Dollarium to send it back and forth electronically to each other is you print out Dollarium, you autograph it, and you make copies of it and upload that file into an email, and you send it to whoever you will to send it to. If you will to send Dollarium, if you will to pull it out of the ATM, you just record what you're doing and then pull it and send it. Why is this important? It's important because now that we have a way to prove that our money system works, our system will honor it. So when you're talking about structures and commerce and conveyances and domiciles and things of that nature, the system will honor it when it's properly recorded and properly pulled. It comes from the proper place. And here's the thing, Morris, please hear me when I say this, and just give it some thinking energy. Whatever you pull out of your trust, your $100 million trust, whatever you pull out of it, the system will only honor what you're doing if you have a plan to pay it back to your trust so that you don't ever go broke. That's the way the system is set up, is you have to have a way to pay it back. See, our system was never set up for bankruptcy and things like that. It was never set up to rupture. That was a loophole for them because we were not active. We were pretending to be asleep. But now that we're awake, and that's what we talked about with, I believe, Justice Howard a couple of Congresses back, we were talking about a business plan for the structures, for the buildings. Then you purchase, you put an exchange on the public record. You have to state where that money came from. If it came out of your trust, okay, it came out of your trust. And then how are you going to pay that money back to your trust? What are you going to use the structure for? Is it something that the public can use, and pay a certain amount to, for services? Or if the public is using it, the government can issue that money as a grant. Okay, and that way, if you pulled it out of your trust, the government will reimburse your trust. We have a little bit of a head start on that because of the way we were doing the work. In that, when Dollarium first came out, we stated that anyone who will to donate to us, to our work that we do so in Dollarium. Well, we received millions, even trillions of donations, of dollars in donations from all the Moors, everywhere. We received money from everywhere. So we can pay our trust back today. If we pulled even 100 million out, we could pay our trust back today because the Moors have given because of the work. But even if we couldn't, if we pulled the 100 million out and we used that to get the buildings and the conveyances and things, because see, I'm telling you, if you went down the street somewhere and you have properly documented where that money came from, you already have your plan to get it back on a public record, then you can legally get a conveyance. You can legally get a domicile and all of that. But you have to show. Just one moment. There's a bit of an echo coming from somewhere. You have to show where you got where the money came from, and you have to have a plan on how to get it back into your trust. So if you do judicial work, which we all do, you can assist people with legal issues. You can assist people with nationality and have them to autograph some Dollarium to you. You provide it to them and they autograph it back to you. That'll pay your trust back. You know, so we just have to justify where it came from. If it came from our trust, we have that on the public record. And if you go to Pierce County records, you will see the 100 million in some of the documents there. And of course, we've restated that document even after we put it on the record some years back, probably in 2018 or 2019, somewhere around there. We pulled it back and restated it, but it's still showing there. So Pierce County records, public records.
Islam.
We put the 100 million on the public record. Islam.
You made mention you can do that Google search for 100 million Dollarium or something like that. I just did one. And don't you know, of all the documents, one that I found had your name all over it.
My appellation.
2019. It had your appellation on it, but it wasn't one that you had someone basically took the documents that you had issued as part of the Congress back in 2019 and made that part of their entire package and had put it on the public record. So
many have done that. I was surprised when I Googled some things about us that those things came up. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that they did it. Yeah, because we've always stated that if there was anyone who willed to use the documentation that the Congress has voted on and the things that we've done, any documents that we've done any Moors can use them, to support whatever it is that they're doing. And many have done that. I saw some at Los Angeles territory. I saw some at some of everywhere on the record where Moors are they're standing and demonstrating who they are and all of that. And for that, we're grateful. I'm grateful to the Congress for all the work that we've done together. See, one thing about this Congress is people trust this Congress to provide documentation while they stand. See, no, they're not looking for anybody to represent them because they know no one represents the Moors. They just willed to see some documentation, some activity, some movement, and some uncorrupted things going on. And for that we're grateful. This Congress,
You're so fucking full of shit, Pauline.
Thank you.
Nothing but bullshit.
I can't thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough. I will forever be grateful to this Congress that we've all stood together. I'm grateful.
You never tell any names, but
even through all of that, they still couldn't stop us. They couldn't stop us. So let's go and be and do. From this point forward, we are going to be.
You're a colossal liar, Pauline.
We are going to be just working together on making sure that our documentation is clear and
nothing but lies.
Clear and clean, and as we go and demonstrate possession, where the money came from, how we're going to get it back into our trust. If you're a Moor that's assisting people all over the place, Noble Phoenix, you're assisting people. Empress Angel is assisting people. Empress Rima, just so many, just about, I believe everyone on the Congress is assisting. Get a Dollarium donation where you can reimburse your trust for something. So that when you get your conveyance is already reimbursed. It's already paid for because of the work you've been doing.
Shouldn't you be the first one getting the conveyance? Shouldn't you have yours by now?
They're so worried about our business. It's our business.
Come on, Pauline. What's the holdup?
So let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's make sure that our documentation matches along the way, that our documents are together, and that our trust is reimbursed for everything that we put out there, all that we state.
3 years and nothing's changed.
Islam.
Nothing has changed.
Islam. Just a minute. Let's wait for Empress Angel to come back in. I was a little quick on the
Shouldn't you be first in line?
Islam.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way.
No. It's all well. Yeah, I was just going to make mention of when we also pay ourselves or when we do anything, our liens is also a way in which we can do the lawful exchange on the record. Because when we lien, let's say, the domicile, or the grocery store. We've already mentioned this already, how this transaction can be done for even the grocery store, and doing the lawful exchange on the record, where you do the lien, you've done the levy, you've done the bond, and so now your gold trust receipt certificates are mentioning the bond number that you've done, and so when you do the exchange, everything is, properly stated with all those numbers that is streamlined through the process up until the receipt. And so when you, so you don't necessarily take it out of your trust, you've taken it from the process with a lien, because when I read the definition of a charge, it mentions a lien, and a lien is a redeemable instrument. So that's why I take and realize that when we've done liens and it's all through the banking process, through the post office, those are accounts active, so we can do banking and transactions with already the liens and levies and bonds that we've already activated.
So let me clarify. Thank you for that, Empress. Let me clarify what we're stating. So you're using bonds for your personal expenses and things of that nature. What we were referring to is if you pull from your trust, let's say to start a business or something. That's what we were talking about, is pulling large amounts from your trust to start a business or to do some things. There's some things we have in mind to do for our nation, to the tune of a few million. To the tune of a few million, where we're getting commerce going back and forth, and also, you know, other activities regarding our government. If our government pulled, let's say we pulled a certain amount to get a courthouse or something of that, a general services something, you know, where, because you know you can go through general services to get a courthouse. So maybe that's not a good example. For my sea salt business, let me use that. If I will to pull 20 million out for my sea salt business or 1 million out of my trust for my sea salt business, then I will to account for what is all of that for and how am I going to put it back into my trust? How am I going to pay myself back for that? That's what we were speaking of in terms of pulling large amounts from your trust. That's
well, I get it now. I see. From the perspective of it's already nationalized because you created it, so there wouldn't have been a lien, levy, and bond process for that.
Right. It's sort of like a brand new company, but here's the thing: even if we will to continue with, let's say, Microsoft or whatever, since we've placed lien, levy, and bond on that, we nationalized the logo. We're now Microsoft, and we are going to do that actually with some of the automobile companies. General Motors, for example, we've liened, levied, bonded. We've also liened, levied, and bonded Jaguar and Land Rover, Range Rover, etc. We will to still have those processes and those things going because we like the product, but it has to be properly funded and properly, and then those that will receive those items, they have to actually use Dollarium or gold and silver for that. And where does that come from? And if it's for business, then is that a business write-off that you can do so that your trust doesn't have to put that forward, or what? And this is where financial literacy is coming in at, is what's the best ways for us to do the most in terms of business and commerce without affecting our wealth. And in fact, not without affecting it, but causing our wealth to grow from the very beginning. You know, because our what we will to do is grow our empire, grow our estates, grow our wealth, just infinitely.
Islam. So now that I'm processing all this, so when the prophet said we're just plain wealthy, we got money falling out of our pockets, the ways in which we've paid ourselves, because we have paid ourselves with the lien, levy, and bond process, right? We've paid ourselves by doing the lawful.
Well, wait a minute. Let me clarify that. The lien, levy, and bond process was for everyone. That was for the public. That was for everyone. What I'm speaking about is a personal business. Let's say I will to open a business.
Well, I hear that, but I'm just speaking about all the ways that we've created wealth as a collective.
Yes.
So we've created wealth by that process. We've created wealth by when you showed how you paid yourself by doing the postmaster check to yourself, right? We paid ourselves and the collective by understanding the means of doing just transfers and, you know, doing the exchange among ourselves. That's creating wealth. And now gifting ourselves, loaning ourselves, because to loan is to really gift ourselves. And we've talked about that before as well. And so
and as competent heirs, we do want to keep. We want to keep growing and at least pay our trust back, but grow what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
And that's infinite right now. With things being the way that they are, it's infinite how much we can make and grow and create. Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then also, realizing the numerous amounts of minerals and resources in the land. So we've already done this, but I guess it would be advantageous, if that's the right word, if we circle back to that as far as in another Congress, that is, to put on the record to restate the ways in which we've grown our estate.
Yes, we can do that. There are some proposals that we're going to put forth where we're going to put forth a proposal and have everyone who wills to donate from their trust. And for example, we will to get the automobile manufacturing to start it up again here. Started up on our land, and we will to have some investment from all of us in, of course, our Dollarium to get that done. And then we'll record it and put it on the public record a certain way. There's a certain way to do that. And then what we'll do is take the documentation and have that manifest the way that we know that it wills to manifest. See, we've crossed the threshold now over the fiat doing anything. We've crossed the threshold there, and anyone who was using that, the system is coming back. That system is coming back for their stuff. So we have to move in this direction of getting things going. We can get a cash advance, as it were, from our trust to get things going, because, like our prophet said, the economy, at a certain point, the economy will grind to a halt, and when it starts back up again, it will start back up in the favor of the Moors. That is where we are right now. Is we got to get commerce started again. And that's going to happen on a massive scale, actually. Even where oil, gold, silver, titanium, copper, nickel, the metals, steel, and things of that nature, for all that we will to manifest. There are conveyances out there from the 1920s and 30s that run better than the ones that were being produced in this previous era. And that was being done by our ancestors. And our ancestors will for us to bring all of that technology to the forefront, because we already have a national and international and universal patents on that stuff, so that we can invest in it and come together and manifest those technologies. They're very simple technologies, especially where automobiles are concerned. Very simple technologies where the automobile will run forever. All of the automobiles from the early 1900s still run today. They just took them off the road, but you can start them up today and they'll run. So that technology and those things are what we will to bring to the forefront, so that we all of us can be back on the road, seeing each other and all of that. And that's not going to take long, because a lot of the stuff that our ancestors did is still here. It's still on the land. We just go claim it, and most of us have those places at our territories. Like we have a place down the way that has those conveyances there already. And a lot of those conveyances were made with gold and silver and iron and steel and high-end metals. They look fantastic. They still run. We don't ever have to worry about them breaking down. And, you know, that technology can be used to advance what we're doing so that we can get conveyances to Moors that are made by us. But in the meantime, you know, we must demonstrate our ability to do that with what's on our land already. You know, so we've stopped everything from being lost at sea, and put proper documentation on things, and that's important. Proper documentation over your possessions is important, and we're just going to be stretching that out some more so that we can continue to manifest all that we will to manifest. This is about us manifesting the things we love, so we can get together, we can party, we can have a great time, and we don't have to worry about anything, you know, any foreign craziness.
Affirm. Islam.
Islam. So if there's not anything further, there was a little bit of word magic. We were talking. We'll talk about this at the next meeting. Money literacy. What is the difference between debt, credit, and equity? Because as you're setting up your businesses, you're going to will to know this information right here. We always set our businesses up or claim proper businesses with equity. Credit, yes, to a degree, but credit is at the managerial level. Equity is at the ownership level of everything. And then debt is at the bottom of the barrel, and we don't do debt like that. You know, so you will to know the difference between debt, credit, and equity, and how that works as we're moving forward with our businesses and our finance and everything. I have nothing further for this amazing Congress. If there be nothing further, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising, Moors. Love you all. Peace, joy,
yes,
and
peace
success.
and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising. Empress, like, do you still have time?
Yes, I do, Empress.
Okay.
Just one moment.